This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Let's start today's session. So let's say that uh, now a new project has to be started. For let's say if you're in a company and a new project has come up. So what are the two scenarios that can happen? First scenario is that your client is aware of your activities. He has already done one testing after 2-3 years, or let's say after yearly he comes for a testing. So he is aware of what performance testing team does, what are his deliverables, what are the information that they need, on which area performance testing helps to improve, and how they design their scenarios. Okay, what are their SLAs? And they I mean they're very much aligned with what you can do. You're aware of your capabilities, and they can directly say, okay, fine, let's say Shaurya, can you please help me with this performance issue? My response time is high. My microservices are not tuned properly. They are taking longer time to call each other. Okay, and can you optimize my infrastructure in terms of usage, whether it is overused or whether it's underused? Can you please do those things? So like that, he's aware of all those things, and he can help us, like he can directly say, okay, can you please do these things? And we are also aware of them, so we can go ahead and like start our process. Okay, so this is one scenario. Now the another scenario is that they are having performance issues. The biggest performance issue indicator is high response time they are seeing, and they are experiencing high response time, and they want to make sure that, okay, fine, they get this, so they came to the performance testing team and say, can you do the performance testing so that we can identify the bottlenecks and we can get this thing done. But they are not aware exactly how the performance testing team do their job, right? So in order to do that, before having the application walkthrough, and most of the companies, what you'll see that team association piece does a performance testing walkthrough. So in briefly, they will explain that what is the task of a performance testing team. Okay, how do they do this performance testing? What are the methodology in terms of tools they will employ, or the process that they follow to do the performance testing? What are their SLAs? What are the things? What are the deliverables from their end? Okay, what are the trigger points for performance testing? What different kind of testing that is possible? So performance testing team has to do that. So let's start with that. Okay, but before that, I want to talk about performance testing life cycle. I mean, this is a common, I mean, everyone who is in the field of performance testing or getting into the field of performance testing, they are aware of this cycle. So can anyone unmute yourself and try to explain in briefly that what is performance testing life cycle? Anyone want to give it a try?
Yeah, actually in PTLC, first we need to gather the NFRs,
Okay.
non-functional requirement, and we need to analyze it. That can be done by the project test manager or someone. And after that, we need to take the sign off. Then we need to make a test strategy planning.
Okay. Okay.
Then test plan has to be done. In the test plan, we have to do the workload modeling.
Okay.
And after that, we need to do the test design, and we need to do the development as well.
Okay.
And then we need to do the test strips, and we need to execute it. If there is any bottlenecks, we need to send it back. And we also need to check the test results. And we need to do the test results analysis. And yeah, I think I'm sorry, I missed here. If we find any problem, yeah, we need to if we find any bottlenecks, we need to send it to the again PE team. Okay, they'll resolve it. After that, again we need to retest. We need to find the analysis of the results, and then we need to execute the test report.
Correct. So as correctly Shasha has said that, so this is a flow that has been created. Okay, and sometimes people find it difficult, and sometimes people say, okay, this steps needs to be there, that steps needs to be there. So let's understand this from a different perspective altogether. Let's say that we'll like keep it this aside. I mean, in terms of IT, let's take a small example that let's say I bought a one cloth, okay, one piece of clothes from London, and that piece of cloth, the material itself is very new. So I want to get it stitched. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll find, okay, which is the best tailor in my town. I'll go to him and I'll say, see boss, this is my material. Okay, this is my material. Can you please stitch me a clothes? So the head boss, I mean the owner of the shop, he'll be there, right? So he will say, okay sir, can you show me your clothes? Okay, now when we say that we are doing non-functional requirement, so in a, basically performance testing is an NFT, right? Non-functional testing. We are not checking the functionality of the application. That happens in manual testing and automation testing. But here we are more concerned, okay, let's say A and B, how fast they're communicating with each other. Okay, if they were having a lag, or they're having a let's say a higher response time, why that is, what is the bottleneck? So we are not concerned whether A is working fine or B is working fine. No, what is happening in between them. Okay, so we are concerned with that. So that's a, I mean, it's a non-functional thing. We are not concerned with the functionality. Okay, so that comes under non-functional testing. That's why we say gathering and analysis. Now the tailor, I mean the head boss, is, he saw the material, he's never seen that material in his life. So what he'll do, he'll analyze that material. He'll see, ma'am, give me some minute, let me see what kind of material is there. Okay, so he'll analyze from his end, he'll see whether he'll be able to stitch or not. But after that, when he has done the analysis, okay, but before that I also want to make sure that, okay, the way I want it, I mean the way I want my cloth get stitched, I want to see, right? I want to see some samples. So he'll show, okay ma'am, this is the catalog, or sir, this is the catalog, please go through it and select the whatever format. So the performance walk through that, performance system, the walk through that performance system. Similar way, tailor also, so okay sir, these are the material, I mean these are the type of stitch that I can do, and you can choose whatever I want. But before that, the performance testing, I mean the team, the way they will see when the application walkthrough happen, they also check the feasibility, whether they can do the performance testing of this application, or what are the expectations from the client. Because when the client is coming up, he's showing, okay, he said so he showed, okay, these are the types I can stitch, and the same, then the client will say, okay, I want this, gets this stitching. So he will check, right, that okay, this type of stitch is whether possible or not. Now once that is done, that is done, a SOW is signed, statement of work is signed at that point of time. Because let's say that when everything is done, okay, and the things are not met according to the requirement, okay, the things are not met to the requirement, on this stage we are on this stage as of now. So when SOW is sent, I mean we can come back, and the client can come back, and even it's used by the performance team also, that they can go back and say, sir, this is the initial agreement that had between us, and you are expecting more, and the client say you are delivering less. So that is very important, and that's why it happens in this stage. Now think from a perspective of a main tailor, he will see, he's checked the feasibility, he's checked everything, he's know, okay, this kind of stitch is done. But obviously it's a big shop, so he'll have some junior tailors under him, okay, master tailors you can say. And what they'll do, he will give it to them, that see, this is the material, I've checked the feasibility, it is possible, okay, and this is the material, go and stitch it by. Now he will give it to those guys. Now those guys, number of tailors are working within him, but they have to plan, right? Because it's a big shop, a lot of things are happening at the same time, a lot of clothes are getting saved, so they have to plan it, that okay fine, I by this date I have to deliver, and by this date I have to cut the cloth, by this date I have to stitch the cloth, by this date I have to press the, let's say that what are the stages are there for stitching the cloth, he has to plan everything. Okay, so that by the time he has committed that, okay, he will be delivering it, he should be able to deliver. Okay, and planning and strategy consists of that. But in planning we also consider how are we going to do it. So further breaking it down, test plan will give a detailed roadmap. So in strategy and planning we get a hard edited timeline. Okay fine, by this date the test state should be completed, okay, by this time I have to get it pressed, like that. But in test plan, it's like each and every minuscule steps, even small tests. So if I talk about terms of performance testing, your environmental readiness, that is something not under performance testing purview. I cannot create a environment. So DevOps team has to give you the environment. Okay, so that environment readiness it's a dependency from the other team. So those things are also need to be documented and taken update properly. That okay, fine. By this date, I'll get the let's say my environment, or access issue is there. Let's say you are using an APM tool. Okay, getting licenses for that, getting licenses for your LGs. Okay, so those things are also incorporated. So when we say test plan is a very detailed document in which everything and every steps has to be documented. Okay, by what time you'll get, so that you can track okay where the project is landing. And these things are getting done by test leads and manager. That is because managers also can be involved, but usually leads and manager they take care of this thing. In a similar way, like the owner has a lot of responsibility, the manager has a lot of projects to manage, so he cannot do everything. He has seen okay fine, this is something which my team can do it, so he will just sign SOW saying huh, I can do it, and he will assign to a team lead the way he has assigned to the head tailor. Head tailor is taking care of all the things, okay, how they are getting managed. Now the head tailor he's planned okay, by this I can deliver it, but the head tailor has to give some instructions, right, that how the cuts will be made, what kind of style design and whatever the style is there, so that needs to be told actually. So in a similar way, design and planning development will happen. So in this we will see, we already have our application walkthrough with us by this time. So we will see okay what are the scenarios that I'm going to test. Okay, and this happens in discussion with the application team only, that okay fine, these are the scenarios, these are the components that are having high response time. I want to get these things tested, then we will see okay how we are going to do the scenario designing, how we are going to do a workload modeling in terms of user load distribution. They usually give they I mean what happens no, when you go into I mean when you see that they will tell okay they will tell okay I know that 100 users are registered, or let's say 100 active users are there for this component, 100 active users will access this. So we have to change those numbers in terms of okay how much TPS are we going to achieve, okay, in this particular, let's say for this scenario this much TPS we are going to achieve. So those things that needs to be done by the performance testing team. So we'll see in workload modeling that how we convert those numbers. So once that is done, then comes up the script development. So similar way, all the measurements have been marked, everything is done. Okay, now the cutting will happen, and again they will start doing the stitch. So in the similar way, the test scripts are developed. So in order to test it, we need to develop the scripts using LoadRunner, Jmeter, whatever the tool is at your disposal. You can develop the scripts, and once the scripts are developed, executions happens. Okay, so let's say that when he has like the when the tailor has stitched the cloth, now he will see okay fine, let me just see whether it's getting properly stitched or not. He can put it on a mannequin and see okay how how the overall looks like. And then you need to come into the picture. The deadlines are there, and you have come up, you have saw that okay fine, this is the cloth that I wanted at get stitch. Okay, now two things will happen on this stage. We are at this stage, so test result. Okay, now the first thing is you are happy with the results. Okay, I mean the findings that you have done. Okay, and you are saying okay fine, my response time are within the SLA. Okay, I wanted this component, the response time should be less than 5 seconds. Okay, this is under 5 seconds, I'm happy, you can go home. Or you'll say no sir, the response time are high, we need to see why this is coming out. In the similar way, you can see okay if the cloth is stitched properly, you can just take it home and go away. If not, you'll say no way, this is not right. I mean this is not the initial discussion that I had with you, my expectations were very different. Then the SOW comes in the picture. You can show them okay fine, see you told me that you will do like this, but you didn't do the like this, so please get it fixed. So the what tailor will he will take that thing again, he'll change the thing again, according to your requirement or expectation. And once that is done, he will again ask you to come, and then you will see. In a similar way, intense result, whenever you show the results, okay, if it's under SLA, that is something they will immediately pass. Sometimes however you highlighted the issue and they're aware of it. Okay, they are aware of it and they'll get it fixed in some time, like it will take another next quarter to next patch, something will, there's something they're expecting which will going to take time, so they can give you a sign off also. So, fine, we are happy with the results for what the performance team has developed, delivered. We know the issue for now, for sure we'll get it fixed, and we'll have our resolutions. Okay, so that is the one solution. And another is they are not happy. I mean, the results, the issues are, a lot of issues have been found out during the testing, and they want to get that fixed. So again, what will happen? The application team, okay, development team, all the teams which are concerned, let's say if it's like related to contention from the hardware side, so infra team will come into the picture. Whether it's a code issue, then application team come into the picture. Okay, then if it's like something related to deployment, some deployment didn't happen properly, because of that then DevOps team come into the picture. And accordingly the teams were involved at this stage, and the solutions have been put in place. And once that solution is put in place, another round of testing will happen. You again run the test, and when again you do the same analysis, you find, okay, whether the solution, I mean whether solution has worked or not, first thing. Second thing, whether is it helping or not, whether a response time is within the SLA. So those things are checked, and if that is good, well and good, then again we can have our sign off, we can show the test reports, and we can have our final report, and that can be done. Now if you see, there are certain things that I have written here: test manager, test lead, performance specialist, performance engineer, and teamwork. Okay, the reason it is written like that, because this stage is very crucial, because any misalignment happening here can cause a lot of trouble for the entire team. So that's why the team manager comes into the picture, because he is aware of all those things. He's aware of the team capability, he's aware of the tools that is available for the team. Okay, so while doing the analysis, they can understand very quickly that, okay, fine, this is something my team can do, this is something my team cannot deliver. Okay, so they can that's why they are involved in this stream. And it's hardly that I mean, with the experience of 3 to 4 years, or a performance tester, let's say for up to 5 years, I would say, they'll be involved in this. Okay, this is something very important. That's why usually I mean, you will be there as a part of the team, but yeah, when we say agreeing on the terms, these calls were getting made by your manager and team manager, test leads only. Now again, in a lot of companies, what happens, these things, I mean, planning and strategy is also done by manager itself. But in some companies, what happens, a single manager is handling multiple projects, and multiple team leads are there for those projects. So then they don't have the time for that. Okay, so what they'll do, they'll delegate that activity to the team leads. So the team lead has to, when the requirements has come. Okay, so this is analysis and gatherings. Here on this part, we are giving them walkthrough, and we are taking the walkthrough of the application. They are just understanding whether it is possible or not. When we say non-functional requirement, then we say that I mean, we know, okay, so when I say this, so we are asking for credentials, we are asking for the details of the architecture, we are asking for the architecture, infrastructure details. Okay, basically all the things that a performance tester need to do the testing on their environment, or the environment which is given to you. Whatever the things that you need, those things basically comes under your non-functional requirement. Basically all the things that you need from their side to do your work, everything will come up. We'll see the format. We'll have, I mean, I have that format with you. I'll show you. It's like, it usually happen that in your company, wherever you're going, you'll have the templates ready, and even if it's not there, you can start with the standard templates, and then you can build upon that. So everything that is required, so once you get, before this SOW, I mean, are very much already prepared. So it's just that you, I mean, on this stage, your manager will not be involved very much. He will ask your lead, or your I mean, your test performance specialist will come into the picture. They will be doing this thing on the back end. Okay, so not strategy and planning again, because again, multiple within a team also multiple projects are going on, so need properly statement of work. Multiple things needs to be managed, and it should be planned, because these things are getting tried. You said, okay, I'll deliver by the end of September, and you're delivering by December. That's acceptable, given that you are fixing the issues. Okay, you're fixing the issues, and client is also okay with it. So but there were no issues, and you are after December saying, okay sir, due to some other projects I was was not able to do it. So that is something not acceptable. That never happens. So that's why, I mean, your leads will make sure that you get to deliver, and from the client perspective also, they also track. So in most of the company, what happens, there is a planned every day you have to send a report, every weekly you have to send a report. There is a graph, I mean planned. So in test plan you defined everything detailed, right? So let's say by this time you should have the environment, by this time you should be able to access everything, by this time a license should be there. So every different teams are involved. Let's say for this you need DevOps, for billing, for license and all, billing teams come to the picture. And if the delay is happening from their end, the things will get escalated from there, and there's the actual progress graph that is going in parallel. So this is how the project management, these things come to project management. So how things are getting things will get tracked. So that's why team lead comes in, because this is something happening on the team presentation level. So someone who's presenting, so team lead comes in, but that's why team lead is given to us. Now team lead is aware, okay fine, these things are need to be tested, and then the performance is specialist. Now the specialist is basically technical experts. So they know, they are a part of this. I mean they also go into that meeting, they listen everything. Okay, they have a lot, they ask them, but yeah, the meeting is driven by I mean who is the head. So if the manager is a manager lead it, and team lead is a team lead leads it. Okay, now the specialist, his concern is that he has all the information with us. Now he has to develop the scenario. Okay, these things that I don't know fix, and these are the scripts that I need to develop. The script development comes to it. So that, I mean that's a, this is something of an individual contribution, I would say. That okay, individually they'll be contributing that, okay fine. Or if it's like it's a big project, so multiple people can come into the picture. Now script development is done. Okay, script development is done. Now as a performance tester, what will happen in industry journal, you will see that uh, performance engineering things are not happening. So if you see here, I mean we everywhere have written test manager, test specialist, but here it's written performance engineer. Now difference between these two is that a performance tester will understand your system, he will do his testing, he will give you the SLAs, the response time, and say that see I'm seeing high response time. If your tool is at his disposal, he will say okay this particular component is causing a trouble. But what will happen, they are not in the position to suggest anything that okay fine, let's do these changes, let's do that changes, it might help. So that is not happening. Okay, that will not happen. So how do, but the performance engineer is capable of doing that. Now the reason is that the performance engineer has a domain knowledge also apart from testing. So let's say that if I talk about our application, so that is based on Java microservices. Okay, now he is aware of that, he's aware of the underlying technology, how the coding has been done. Okay, here's a little bit of what kind of platform has been employed. Okay, if it's like on the cloud, okay, if it's AWS, he'll be aware okay how the things are, if Kubernetes is involved, let's say, I mean whatever the underlying technology is there for the application, he's aware of the technology. He will understand okay how, what the configurations has been done. And that he'll be, I mean when you see the error logs Dynatrace, what will happen, 1 second guys. Okay, so in Dynatrace, when the error comes up, I'll show you when the will be understanding Dynatrace. So what happens that for any error, you'll see multiple things. You will see the response time errors. Okay, you will see there's a tab called errors in which error will be shown. Okay, that okay for this, because of this error, I mean this request has failed, and there's code also. So in that you will see it will show for what, I mean at what piece of code, line of code it has failed. So okay, so usually what happens, performance tester, what they'll do, they'll just take a snap of this, or they share the link of this Dynatrace and give it to the developers. Okay, but the engineers will be able to understand this as well. Okay, and now this happens as a, so basically when you have to everybody, all the performance testers are basically trying work in progress to become a performance engineer, to be very honest. So that is how it is. I mean because you learn multiple technologies as your experience goes. So once like in 5 years you have gained a domain knowledge, I mean performance testing domain knowledge expertise. Okay, you are aware of all the things. Now you can move on to become a performance engineer by learning different things. You have to learn some, I mean start expanding your knowledge on cloud, start expanding your knowledge on the different programming language. Okay, so slowly you will also learn, and you will be able to position to, I mean because performance tester looks things in a different way altogether. Okay, their approach is a little bit different, and there are tools which are at disposal which he'll be employing to find the issues. Okay, now this can be a teamwork also. It's not necessary that okay, the issues are coming up and we have a performance senior resource who is like a full-fledged performance engineer, we can send you like the sir, can you please check? No, it's not like that. It is always a team effort, because everybody who is in all this world, they are also analyzing errors that they are seeing, they are trying to find on their they are also trying to understand, okay, why this error is coming, what are the possible solutions that we can employ in this. So they are also working. Okay, so it is usually a team effort to give to find the issues and highlight to the application team. And if not, if you are in the position to suggest any possible solution, then that also works. So this is how entire performance life cycle works. Now this is something when it's like entirely new project. Okay, now let's say I have talked about two scenarios in the starting, that uh, the team is coming up for the second time. Okay, the team has coming up for the second time, and so what will happen, uh, this part might not be there. Okay, analysis, because we already understand the application. Let's say that this time we have done the performance tuning for the application in Asia region. Now they are deploying the same application in India. Okay, so they just they are deploying the same code, and they have set up some data center. Okay, but the thing is, now the user count was 15 here, I'm just giving a small number, but here the count is 200. So they are just they want to just make sure that okay, fine, my whether my application will be able to support or not. So they, although they have done the calculation, they have installed the infrastructure accordingly, but they just want to be make sure want to be sure that okay, fine, my bill will not, my application will be stable. So they can come and say, okay, can you just certify that okay, 200 users we will be able to support on this or not. So we are already aware of that function, we have tuned this. So we'll just see, okay, fine, we just need to see okay, whether the infrastructure side it's good or not. So we'll directly go ahead and move to this particular stage saying, okay, fine sir, give me this information and let me start working on that. Planning and strategy, this is always will come into picture. Your your test leads and manager will plan, okay, but what will be our delivery times, what are the things that are needed, what are the dependencies, who will be taking care of that. Test plan, workload modeling will happen. Scripts wise, you might see that okay, the scripts are same. So let's say last time you have developed the script, so that that's the benefit of correlation and parameter. You have done the correlation parameter and the same scripts can work. Sometimes if the UI, some changes have been done, significant changes in the code is done, then you have to develop the script again. But if it's like the same application, then you don't need to develop the scripts also. You will already having your scripts with you or in your project management tool, and from there you can download. If it's working, you can deploy the same scripts and you can do the same thing. You can do the testing. You can do, before this test script, you need to do a small smoke test also to see whether the scripts are working fine or not. So that will be also be there. Now executions will happens. Okay, executions will happens, and again this process is same, where if you have found a bottleneck, if you found okay, uh, the response time are very high. Okay, or sometimes you'll what will happen, that you'll have contention from the hardware end. Okay, so those things, if you're coming up and that's a big issue, then you cannot move forward. So obviously you have to highlight that, and when you highlight that, resolutions will be there. If you have a problem, there's a problem, you cannot just live with it, right? So that is how not works. So I have to get that fixed. So this process is there everywhere. Okay, but the only thing is in some companies, I would say this performance engineer stuff is not happening, to be very honest. So what the performance testers do, they just run the test and they say, okay, we are seeing these errors. They share the links of the the Dynatrace access. We give to developers also, they also have the access, so they can see the traces. Okay, and we just tell, okay, we are seeing the high response time, we are seeing errors in this particular, and the application team, and they work within among themselves, and they come up with some solutions, say, okay, can you please do it again. So that also happens, also happens. So it's okay. That is how it is. So this is how this is what performance testing life cycle is. I hope it's clear. Anyone has any doubt, you can ask me now, otherwise I'll move forward. Okay. So the next thing is purpose testing process. Now I was talking about two scenarios in the starting. So let's say that this scenario, I hope that now you'll be able to understand this in a much better way, that why there are two scenarios. Okay, so now first scenario is done. Now we'll come to the second scenario, and I mean, you have to give a on-setting walkthrough, to be very honest, to make the client, your application team, I mean whoever team is involved, to understand, okay, what performance testing team does. Okay, so we have to tell them, okay, fine, what we do. So this is something, I mean, in short, we can explain it to them that, okay, what performance testing team does. So you can see here, the first step is requirement and analysis, NFR definition, historic information, test strategy creation, and methodology. Okay, so it's basically, if you look at the performance testing life cycle, same thing. We have to analyze the application, right? It's like we have to tell them that, sir, the first thing is we analyze your application. Okay, we analyze your requirement. What is the requirement? What is your, what kind of application you have? Let's say if it's like an application on which there, I mean, no protocol is available. Let's say I can only use, my company said, okay, use only LoadRunner. Okay, because for security concern, use only LoadRunner, and it is based on some protocol which is not possible. Okay, which is not there. I mean, I'm not able to record the I'm not able to record the scripts. Okay, so that is a issue. So those things are basically checked here. Okay, some people call this POC also. They are checking the for concepts also, they are checking whether it's possible or not. So the first thing you can tell is, the first step is requirement analysis and definitions and historic information. That if you been like historic information, basically it's like if you're coming for the second time, we have the application familiarity with us, so we can go ahead and move forward. Now test strategy creation and methodology. So what are the deliverables in this? So first thing is defining the NFR. So you have to define the NFR, you have to document everything. Okay, the client has come up for because he was having these issues. The performance testing team is going to do the testing. These are the things that we are going to test, and these are the volumetries that the client has given. This is the expected SLA time they are expecting after the improvement. So those things are basically defined here. Now test strategy, performance strategy, and you can, I mean, I can write planning as well, same thing. So again, these things to be documented so that client can do a tracking. Client can do a tracking whether the team is okay. Give me a second. Okay, so the client can, I mean, performance strategy and planning. So the client can do the tracking. They'll know how the team is going to progress. Okay, we go and ask. I mean, I can take the same example that I took. So I'm going to ask, right? I can ask him, like, if there is a delay, I can ask him that, sir, you said that by 20th you'll deliver my clothes. Why are you taking so much time? So I mean, the tailor tells, ma'am, I got stuck because of this issue, because of that issue. Okay, so like that you have to justify, right? But I mean, but in the company, like, we have to be more documented. So we have to tell them, sir, the environment was not given to us at the right time, or you can say, sir, the licenses are not there. Okay, so and I mean, we are having, let's say, if it's like some issue has come up, so sir, the issue is there. Because of the issue, the application team is fixing it. I mean, let's say I mean, the functional testing is not done properly. Let's to say that, even, sir, we can say, sir, the functionality of the application is not working properly. Now it has been again sent to the functional team to get it rectified. So like that, I mean, whatever the content, I mean, issue is there, we have to highlight that issue if the delay is happening. So in order to do that, we need to have this performance testing strategy and planning with us, or a proper test plan with purpose, so that we can be safe from after to, okay. Now the second thing is performance testing SOW sign off. So this will definitely done by your manager only. Okay, so because some cost is also involved, because you will be working, right? I'll in the end, by the end of bonus sessions, I've like prepared some a sample SOW also. So you will see that you are basically billed for your hours. Let's say if you're working for 9 hours, you'll be billed, you're getting billed for that. So the client will say, okay, fine, you are billing me, but you're I mean, it's for 1 month you are billed him, and performance testing team has not done it because of some blocker. Okay, so statement of work. Okay, so that needs to be like properly documented. So that's why this is very important. Now the second thing is, we can tell, sir, once we have all this with us, the next step that we moves on is basically module test creation and look. Okay, so it's basically test creation, customization of script, okay, or data. So let's say that if it's like data is there, so, and I mean this is something that we have written because of the nature of the application. So in some application data dependency not there, or let's say if you're doing a testing on a mobile application, okay, not I mean not mobile, if it's like a telecommunication application, okay. So in telecommunication application, what you will see, the data volumetrics is very high, or if it's a banking application, the data volumetrics is very high. Okay, you will be testing on 7 million data, 10 million data, like that. Okay, so that requires test data preparation also. So migration team will come into the picture, and they will give you some data. You have to do your data filtering, you have to get things get data filter properly, so that when you're feeding the data, okay, so through VTS or anything, they will be able to I mean that data should be able to work properly. So data preparation, then work node generation. One, okay, so we have to do a workload modeling also, so the same thing. Then smoke test execution lightweight. So basically by this time you have done, I mean you have your scripts ready with you, and you have small data, okay, but we'll be doing the executions, right? So it is you have a performance center, or let's say you have controller also, but the client has asked, okay, so this application, it's not over the internet, it is over the internet, okay, and my users, one is in Germany, one is in Europe, one is in Australia, one is in US, and this is where the application is going to access, but my data center is in Israel, or let's say Europe, wherever, Africa. Okay, so I mean that is how the application is been designed. So I cannot test it, right? I have to test in a real scenario, right? So I have to install, I have to have LGs there, so that also comes into your planning only. Getting the LGs, it is a responsibility, I mean of the, I mean that is extra cost, but that is responsibility of the client to get a machine in their local offices, because they have the offices like there. So they have to provide one machine from which we can do a testing. So we can install our LG, and from there then we, through controller, we can put a load. So those things. And sometimes what will happen, that okay fine, your scripts are working fine in your local system, or the system in which you have developed, but from the LGs they are failing. So these are small things, I mean that we have to fix. So in order to just weed out these things, we do a small smoke test execution to see, okay fine, when we do an actual load test, I will not see any issues from the performance testing team side of you. Okay, so performance testing, that when we have to do the execution, there's no blocker should happen from our end, related to data, related to machine, related to scripts, anything. Okay, so to weed out all those things, a small like a smoke test execution happens. Okay, in terms of deliverable, workload modeling, early performance testing metrics. Okay, now the second thing, once this is done, now next thing is what kind of testing, okay, you are doing. So if you are doing a benchmark testing, so what kind what are the different types of benchmarking you're doing? So whether it's a load test that you are running, stress test, or independent, or you can expand anything. Okay, so like that you can expand. Okay, give me a second, guys. Okay, I have few questions. Can you maximize? Okay, sure. You all can see it, right? You can see my screen. Anyone can confirm once.
No, it's
Is my
not. It
screen
is the
visible?
same as earlier. It is same as earlier. Can you max it a bit?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
It's there, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so site testing from sites. Let's say that I have 10 offices, 10 different or global offices. From there, again, the machines I need to get to. Basically, I'll install my LG. From there, I'll put the load. So in order to do that, I need to have site testing, you can say. Then breakpoint and capacity testing. So this is basically, if I put in nutshell, the whatever kind of testing that has been decided to do on your application, that will basically we are just telling, and we are telling, okay boss, in order to do that I'm using the tool is LoadRunner. Okay, if you are using new load, if you're using Jmeter, you can define that. Okay, once the testing is done, then performance counter. Okay, so in order to monitor it, okay, now what happens, every company, okay, if it's like a big company, okay, they cannot afford to have a system without monitoring. So these monitoring systems are being put in place. Okay, so let's say if my node is not, those are gone when we used to have a downtime for 6 hours 4 hours, no, that doesn't happen. I mean, because of the cloud, it has like, I'm not sure whether you know that when you buy a VM, there is a cost is there. It's okay, and the cost depends upon the availability. So I mean, it says that your system will be available 99.99% time it will be available. Okay, and then they will say 99.99996, something like that. And then if it's like, if you keep going on, the cost will be there. And if it's the SLAs, I mean, let's say for a month, if the overall availability is less than this, the Azure or whatever the platform is there, cloud platform, they pay you back. They pay you back basically. They say, okay sir, I mean, the system was not available for, it is like availability is, let's say 99, so I'm going to pay you for that. And there's a, I mean, there is a mechanism how they calculate, but they get, you get paid for that, and the client get paid for that basically. So that is how it is. But a lot of infrastructure is already there on-prem. So this is, I'm talking about cloud. By cloud, you get by default their monitoring system. Every monitoring, I mean, cloud platform gives their own monitoring system. But what about the on-prem system? Okay, so on-prem system, there are multiple tools. You can have Datadog, you can have Dynatrace, you can have New Relic. I mean, you can name it. There are a lot of tools. Okay, you can employ any of them, and you can, what you can do, you can just install, I mean, put these monitoring system in place. What will happen, once they go down, immediately they will trigger alert. Okay, I mean, there's a configuration. So polling keeps on happening. Polling is basically, I keep pinging. So when I say ping, host name is basically go and check whether the system is up or not. Okay, and so it keep pinging on polling, where we can say, we use the term polling. We keep the system, I mean, whatever the system, type of mechanism they are employing, whether it's like an agent or whether it's through the cloud, whatever it may be. So we can I mean, that depends upon the application platform. So we employ this. Okay, but what the benefit that we get out of this is that when we are doing our testing, okay, so in the earlier days, let's say if I'm doing the testing on my system, I need to analyze how my system itself is performing. So we have to log into system. We have to, I mean, I'm sure you are a Google monitor, Google performance monitor. So you need to configure the metrics. I mean, there's a feasibility also. You can pull the results in your analysis and you can analyze that, but you don't need to do that now. I mean, every most they'll definitely have some monitoring tool. So from there, you can at least bare minimum saying that you can monitor the CPU, memory, disk space during a test execution. If okay, if no uh, I would say a good APM tool is available with you. Okay, if this is available, let's say if you're Dynatrace, you can analyze a lot of things. Okay, that will be seeing how that can be done. So performance counter. Okay, so you have to configure the. So this usually, if you have the access, you can go ahead and do it as per your will, or you can tell the client, tell the whoever team, if they will give you the access, and you can configure the counters. We'll be also creating the dashboard. So performance SLA compared. So SLA compared basically, when you, I mean, this comes of benchmarking, because we are doing the benchmarking. We are trying to relate, okay, fine, from the last time, whether the results has improved or not. So with that will be compared. And when that is done, performance monitoring, deep dive analysis, vendor cloud tool use. Okay, they're saying if it's like a cloud or the tool use, bottleneck animation reporting. So once the testing is been done, we analyze the report. Okay, we analyze it, we analyze the bottleneck where we do, I mean, that reporting needs to be done. Okay, now the next thing is text execution metric report, if redefined performance benchmark, performance test certified. So let's say that results are good and we can go ahead and publish it. So we'll just publish a test certification certifying, okay sir, 200 user will be able to support the system. Okay, or let's say whatever number of, let's say if you're certifying for 300 TPS, you can say sir, for 300 TPS or 400 TPS or 50 TPS only, let's say that your system will be able to withstand with this particular configuration. Okay, and then we have to share the report. So this is how our process will be. You have to explain it to the client that, sir, this is our process, this is how we are going to do the same testing for you as well. Okay, on a higher level, you can say, sir, early environment step setup, then quick assessment and planning, execution and monitoring a report. This is our approach for testing. Now, what are the reusable assets? So when I say reusable assets, so every company wherever team you'll go, you'll see there's a template that will be available. It is a very big template in which everything relevant for that application or irrelevant for that application, doesn't matter. It's like a big sheet, Excel sheet, in which you have to, there are a list of questionnaire that you can ask, and it will give you all the information that is required for a performance testing point of view to do the testing. Okay, if that is relevant, you can just fill it up. If it's irrelevant, just leave it blank, and every teams use that. And let's say that if it's like I mean, let's say the client is coming for the second time, you can eliminate all, I mean, you can delete those boxes which are relevant and have a relevant document for that application specific. But you'll always have a untouched document template with the team, which is basically will be a ground zero if something new comes up. Okay, then performance testing master sheet and checklist. So we have a master sheet also. So what is master sheet basically? Give me a second, let me just show you. Okay, so there you go. So this is a master sheet for our MFS application. So instructions basically, I mean, what are the things that this document will be there carrying. Then a tracker. Okay, so this is a sample tracker that, I mean, I have created for the application. So this is a high level tracker that you can see. It can immediately let's say that the project is critical. Okay, weekly we have to send. Now the, I mean, the product has delayed a lot. Okay, performance issues are coming on a daily basis, then we have to send this on a daily basis. So how to report so that everybody can read this. I mean, so we can just say executing summary, the things that I need to highlight. Some blocker, team is creating a blocker, you can just highlight, okay, these are the blockers that are created. We can use legends. Okay, if it's like a very big issue, I mean, the entire testing has been stopped, so you can put it in red also. If it's like something work in progress, you can put in amber. Or if it's like everything is going smooth, you can put it in green. Then project description, I mean, that is standard. Then key highlights, so let's say if anything is causing a blocker, you can highlight that. Then you can highlight next key milestone. So what are the next thing that the team is going to do in the next let's say, what are the next milestones that are going to achieve for smoke, let's say test create, scripts creation, smoke test execution, like that. You can say what are the next milestone is. The milestone is basically things that you have defined in your test plan, then you're going to achieve that basically. Okay, and management needs intention. So if something is causing a blocker and they are not working properly, you can highlight this to the management. Risk, whatever the risk, if this issue is not fixed, text task summary, what are the tasks that are getting done from performance testing team. Okay, then what is the status of a script, whether it's been created or not, whether it's passing or not, if any issues are there, when other executions are planned. So one document in one simple template can give you a lot of information. So this way, I mean, it varies from organization to organization, but this is one simple template that you can use. Then history revision, so any changes that are getting made. Okay, let's say we have created this master sheet on today, and a lot of changes have been done, LGs have been changed, or let's say access credentials have been, so that needs to be documented. Okay, that needs to be documented properly. So I mean, we can do this, and we can attach the mail here as well. Application details, basically things which I need to access the application. Environmental checklist, LR status, with what is the status of SQL, what are the scenarios, what are the transaction, what are the user details. If let's say that have to run for 100 users, so whatever the user password, because I need to put in my param file. What are the LR scripts? Okay, workload distribution, environmental okay issues if there are any. Okay, then workload modeling, then my LGs, what is their, I mean, what is their IP. Okay, where I'm going to what are the system configuration, then network issue, then we have to consider configure latency as well. So what is the latency, at what time I'm going to do from data. Okay, then test plan, your server details, basically what are the KPIs for your infrastructure. Let's say that this is a KPI. Let's say these I have four, two web server, one app server, one database server. So what are the SLAs? When I'm running a test, the CPU level should not go beyond 50. So what are the SLAs that when, and what is the value that is coming up during the election? So in a single span of sheet, you will see everything has been documented. It's very handy and it's very easy to manage. So this is that's why we have this checklist with us so that we can do a project management, and it is for REs also. Okay, then scripting wise, navigation flow document basically. So this is reusable asset. So when I'm saying this is relevant when it may say when coming for the second time. So we don't need, we already have a document. This is a flow document, a transaction flow document we'll be also creating. So you can reuse this. Okay, then scripting template, if you have a scripting with us, you can go ahead and use this. Then in terms of reporting and procedure, so since you have already working on multiple projects, you will be aware, okay, what are the best practice that you have to follow, how to show the results. Showing results is also a very good art. See, as a performance tester, you're looking at a lot of things. Okay, you're looking at the infrastructure, you are looking at the server, you are looking at the application, you are looking at the errors, and you have multiple things happening at the same time, so you can correlate those things. But you are how to present it in the best way so that the application team also can correlate those things. Okay, so in order to do that, what are the best practices, what are the guidelines for analysis, performances, report, and template. So report template basically certifying, okay, this is good enough, so this is just a procedure. Okay, now in terms of deliverables, performance test requirement, performance test plan, performance test document, performance analysis report, and end certificate. Okay, fine, this is certified that your application will be certified with this many users or this much TPS, it will be able to withhold. Okay, I think we have reached our time, so I'll stop here. Anyone has any question, you can go ahead and ask. Oh, in the next section we'll understand the methodology, that how this, we have to explain to the client that, okay, fine sir, this is how I'm going to do, but the testing wise, how I'm going to test your system, what is the methodology that I'm going to employ. So we'll be seeing that in our next session. Okay, and then we will see what are the trigger points. Okay, what are the trigger points that are causing my performance testing to happen. Okay, what are the performance testing criteria in terms of analysis, what are different layers are there basically. So as a performance tester, client, network, server, database, only these things we can analyze and optimize, but in terms of internet and external, we can just analyze. I'll give you some examples so that you'll get it in a much better way. Then we'll see what are the different testings are there. So till now, any questions, anyone? Okay, no questions.
Do we need to have any other templates for the Agile when we are using Agile?
See, the process remains the same. Okay, so in Agile, basically, what happens that you'll be working with the team itself. Now, what is happening now is that this is something that I'm telling that, okay, the application is developed, you have it's in a pre-prod environment, okay, and then you are doing testing. But nowadays, what is happening that what companies are doing instead of getting the entire application developed and then testing it, what they're suggesting is that let's involve the performance testing guys early in the step. Okay, it's like that, automation tester and member tester are there. Whenever a small piece of code, let's say a found functionality has been developed, they start doing the testing on that. Okay, but performance team doesn't do that. When the entire application is developed, then they start working on that. So in Agile, what you will see that small form component also, so they can create a mock service also, and then you can test it. Or let's say there's a functionality, let's say there's a microservice A and there's a microservice B. Okay, now I'm testing the macro service of A only. Now, okay, I'll give you one step. A and B is there. Okay, now A has a dependency with, let's say, other microservices, and these microservices are developed, and B is still in work in progress. So what I can do, I can create a mock for this. So for a certain response, I will reply certain for a certain request, I will reply with a certain response. Now mock will do that. Although this is not developed, but I know that as far as A is concerned, A has to send this and it has to receive something like this from the B. So I can go ahead and do the testing. So in that agile, I mean, you can start working on this. I mean, you can create a skate. If it's like an API, you can work on the API also, and then you can check the functionality of the application. I mean, like improve the performance of the application. So we can do that. But in that, I mean, documentation wise, I would say you can the best way to handle documentation. No, every company wherever you go, they'll have some documentation with us. Okay, so let's say if you are new to the company, what you'll do, just go to the project management tool, whichever is there available. Ask your manager, ask your lead, sir, what is the project management tool available here? Go into the documentation. They'll have a section called documentation, or for the application also go to the document. Let's say they'll create a hierarchy there. Okay, application, go to document, just go and read that. Now more or less they will remain the same. Okay, they will remain the same. I mean, that's what I said, right? There's a list of big list in which you have to fill all the details and which are relevant, and you can just skip it off, and you can just see the whatever the required template is there, and then you can go and keep using use that. Like that it happens. Or you'll see, okay, fine, this is something that this is something, let's say I do this in my company, I find it very good, but I found, okay, in the next company I'm not able. I'm just saying that it's not getting used. You can pitch this to your managers and team leads, and you can put that. But as per my experience, certain templates are followed everywhere, and you're not supposed to mingle it until it's approved from your leads and manager, because then they will say, "Oh, who asked you to do this?" Because the client is also function to see the result in that certain way. I mean, you are hopping, but the client is not hopping that frequently. Okay, so they'll say, okay, why this looks different. So in order to avoid those, certain templates are followed all across. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And one more thing, as you said, Datadog, Dynatrace, other tools are there, right? Monitorings. How will you analyze which tool is suitable for which scenario?
Number of things are there. So first thing is security. Okay. Now certain companies don't allow open source tool for security purposes. Then you have to look at what are the paid tools available in the market. Then comes the budget of how much budget they are ready to spare for monitoring purposes. So basic monitoring, definitely every company is employing today as of now. They are I've not seen any company putting they are without monitoring tool. Bare minimum they'll have some cheap monitoring tool so that when the system goes down, they'll have alert. Or let's say CPU in production, CPU went 100%. Okay, now if CPUs have going to the 100%, obviously the user will get stuck. Okay, so they don't want that to happen. So they'll have some monitoring piece put in place so that they get alert and they can kill the process which is causing the issue. So definitely they'll have that. But again, the cost comes into the picture. Okay, what is the cost? Now the third thing is criticality of the project. So what kind of application is there? What kind of criticality is there? So what is happening now? A lot of developers are basically, because Dynatrace is a very good tool, and there's one more tool called AppDynamics. So what the application team is doing, when they are developing the budget, I mean, this is something to cost. So when they're developing the project development, at that instant they are saying, okay, we'll be needing this AppDynamics or Dynatrace. So the cost basically get bore by the development team. Okay, that doesn't come under the NFT, and then we can use that. I mean, NFT also will be able to use those licenses. So that depends upon, because see, if it's like microservices, or if it's like if they are expecting some kind of analysis from the monitoring team, so obviously they have to give access, right, to our, so for the log levels, or let's say they have to give some at least Dynatrace, so that we can see the logs from our end, and we can say, okay, this particular this particular piece of code, or let's say this particular image, or let's say this piece of component is causing the trouble. So in order to do that, we need to have some kind of APM tool which we can do profiling. So that is very crucial. So these questions that we need to ask, and depending on the project, we have to highlight that. Okay, it's not that
This
they have
also
given
has to
some,
be done when it is planning, right? Test planning at the time only it has to be decided.
That time itself. That's, and these things are decided that time itself. That's why your manager
by the test manager, right?
Test
It is
manager
decided by
and
the
lead.
test manager.
Test manager and lead. So because he'll be signing, right, so they'll be expecting that, okay, fine, I'm expecting client to say, okay, I'm expecting these things from me. So the manager knows, right, what are the things that is available with us. So they will tell, sir, I mean, if you are expecting these, and then they are aware of the capability of the team as well. So they say, so if you're expecting these, I'll be needing a good profiling tool as well. And then they will say, okay, can you suggest me some then you will suggest as per the budget and they will see. So these are the discussion that happens.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, fine, guys. I hope it's clear. I hope so. I'll just quickly sum up what I've discussed. So we have discussed what are the different scenarios that you will see in your companies. Okay, then we have seen what are the performance life cycle. These are the basically we have documented every step, but it is not necessary that all the steps are followed. You can go and say, okay sir, why are you not creating, let's say if it's a regular project coming for, let's say we're doing the testing of the second round, okay, or let's say for the second cycle, and you say sir, you have not created the script, why using the old script. So those things should not happen. So you should be able to understand, okay fine, why it's happening, how it happened. And then we have discussed about performance testing process, what are the process that is being followed, okay, and are followed for doing the testing. And tomorrow we'll look into the methodology and the subsequent slide. Okay, fine. Thanks, guys. Anyone has any doubt? I can answer now. I'm stopping the screen sharing. No, okay, nobody has any questions, right? Fine, guys. Then I'll end the meeting. Thank you.